today I am here with Banba, my veiled chameleon, and we are going to be talking about a pretty controversial subject that is completely based upon my opinion. So this is not factual anything. I'm totally just going off of my experience and what I think about this topic. So this video is going to be based upon the type of person that does not have much experience with reptiles or knowledge. So this video is going to be directed about people that maybe go to a pet store and they have some interest in an animal because it looks cool and they want to bring it home, and just a little bit more information on why that animal might not be a good pet. So one of the animals that I think do not make great pets, especially for beginners, are chameleons. And as you can see, like, this chameleon looks really chill, really cool. Banba's on his own level of just being a really good chameleon. However, most chameleons are actually very, very feisty, and Banba has his moments too. And they're also very challenging to take care of. And as you can see, I have Banba here and I love him to pieces. But he is not a good pet for someone that doesn't have a lot of experience or knowledge when it comes to chameleons. Chameleons are like one of those #1 reptiles that are recognized by people that aren't really familiar with reptiles. It's really funny because people that don't really know reptiles, they think that all lizards are either a chameleon or an iguana. But obviously there's like so many more. But because of that, like, people are very drawn to chameleons because of their pretty colors, and they think that they have really cute personalities and cute faces. However, most chameleons are very grumpy, especially veiled chameleons like Banba right here. He has his moments and he's really chill right now, but he definitely has his grumpy moments when he just does not want anything to do with me. So it's just part of what comes when you want to keep a chameleon as a pet. One of the main reasons that I think chameleons do not make really good pets is because they actually are very challenging to take care of. They require kind of a lot of space because they do love to climb, and they require a good humidity level, and these animals do not drink from water bowls, so they need a lot of attention to make sure that they're being hydrated, to make sure that they're getting the food that they need. It's just a lot of work that goes into them. And again, if you are familiar with reptiles and you know all of this, then they're a breeze, because honestly, I have no problem taking care of him, and I think that he makes an amazing pet for me. However, for somebody that is new to reptiles and doesn't have much experience with them, chameleons are definitely not a good pet option whatsoever. Another reptile that I personally don't think makes a good pet, especially if you're somebody that's new to the hobby, would be iguanas. And I'm sure most of you guys have heard about them because they were just the most popular animal you could possibly get in the reptile industry. But things have changed and people have realized that those animals get huge and they become so much work. But there are still people that aren't aware of that and will just buy them because they're cheap still to this day. But again, iguanas do get very huge. When they're babies, they're so much significantly smaller and they're very cheap, and that's very appealing to a lot of people and it makes them want to buy them. But they don't realize that when it comes to taking care of an iguana, they're going to require mainly something that's hand built that you're going to have to do yourself, because there aren't many custom made iguana enclosures, and if you can find one, it's going to be very, very pricey. You also have to make sure that whatever you're going to be building or using has the proper temperatures and humidity and everything, and it's just a very complicated thing to do. Another thing about iguanas is that they are very feisty, especially the males during breeding season. They get very, very aggressive and they can cause a lot of damage to people. They can be pretty dangerous animals. So that's something that is not really a very good pet. But again, if you have the knowledge, the expertise, the experience, then it's not a problem. But for a typical person, I don't think iguanas make good pets. Another thing that I see all of the time at like reptile shows, I want to express in this video that if you see a reptile that's cheap and small, you may think that that's a good option for you because of how cheap it is and how small it is. That does not mean that that animal is going to be cheap to take care of by any way, shape, or form. It actually can be the complete opposite. If you're getting something cheap, it might be wild caught, and then it's going to require seeing a vet, which is very, very expensive. So you really have to make sure that you're doing your research before getting any animal, before you think that you're getting this amazing deal at like a reptile show or something. And one animal in particular that I always see, actually it's many monitors. I see tiny little monitors all the time. I mainly see Savannah monitors, but they are maybe like $30. Like, they're so cheap. They are tiny. They're probably like this big. That thing is gonna get like 5 to 6 feet long. Like, they get massive. And there's so many different species of monitors. I see Nile monitors for cheap all the time too. They get huge. They require so much space, and they are very, very hard to take care of. Someone that has a lot of knowledge and takes care of monitors and is experienced, again, would not have a problem with this. But for a general person, that is not a good pet option whatsoever. Something else about Savannah monitors in particular is that they really don't live that long in captivity. It's just very hard to take care of them and make sure that they're getting everything that they need. They're also very prone to obesity, so like everything is still kind of being tested out. I don't know if that's how you would call it, but I wouldn't say studied, but it's just one of those newer animals that people are just now keeping in captivity, and I feel like it's just a lot of trial and error. So there isn't a lot of really good information to find on exactly how to care for them. So because of that, it's just a lot of misinformation online, and it's just really, it makes it that much more challenging to take care of an animal like that. And monitors in general, they do get so big. They're also just so intelligent that it's just so hard to take care of them sometimes. And they can, again, be very dangerous. They have very sharp teeth. They can whip you with their tail. They aren't going to let you get away with crap either. Like, they're going to let you know where they stand. I mean, they're relying on instincts. That's what reptiles do. They're just primal animals just trying to survive. So it's just something else to keep in mind, because monitors are such amazing animals, and I don't have the experience with monitors, and I would never get one unless I fully felt comfortable with it. But they're just like really, really for advanced keepers. So if you're new to animals and you see a tiny little monitor at a show, I highly recommend that you do not get that animal. Even if it's cheap and adorable, just don't do it. So that's something to just be careful about. If you're at a reptile show and you see a cheap, small animal, you need to be asking questions, because there's a good chance that animal is not going to stay that small. They may get significantly larger, even if you may not really think that's what's going to happen. And it may end up being too much for you, and then there's a whole other thing that happens, like when people can't keep their animals and then they just start putting them in the wild, and that's a whole other topic. But that's something that you want to avoid, so that's why I'm making this video. So some more options that I think don't make good pets are turtles. And turtles are very similar to chameleons in that they are known by many people and everyone thinks they're cute. So they just want to go and buy one. And the thing about turtles is there's a lot of horrible misinformation that is given about them before they are sold off to people, such as like they can stay in these tiny little containers. They aren't going to grow. If the container stays that small, then the turtle will stay that small. It's just a huge mess. People don't get the lighting that's needed for them. And because of that, the turtles suffer and die and get diseases like metabolic bone disease, and it's just awful. But I own turtles, and I have to tell you, turtles are so much work. Like, you don't even know. Taking care of a turtle tank is not fun. It's not enjoyable, but I love my turtles, so I do it. But because of that, I personally don't think that turtles make good pets. Especially if you're looking for something that you want to be handling. Turtles don't really like to be handled, and so that kind of takes away. Same with chameleons. They don't really want to be held too much. Bambo will come out and tolerate it, but if you want a handleable pet, there are so many other reptile options that are so much better. But because the turtles are wanted by so many people just because they're so cute and they're so liked, they don't realize how much work goes into it, and I personally don't think that they make the best pets just because of all of the work that they require. So just because you're seeing a video just like this and I'm holding Banba and it looks like a great relationship between me and my chameleon, there's a lot more behind the scenes, such as how it actually is like to take care of him, and not every animal is going to behave like Banba. There are so many chameleons that no matter what, people try to hand feed them and they still won't eat. Every chameleon is different. Every animal is different. They're all going to behave a little bit differently because they all have personalities. They all have different things that they like and dislike. So you just have to do your best to research before you get any animal. That's always what I want to emphasize to everyone before getting any animal whatsoever, is to just do your research to make sure that you know exactly everything that could potentially happen, and make sure that you're fully committed to taking care of that animal no matter what. And I have lost my chameleon. What are you doing? Oh, there you are. So yeah. Ow! Oh my God, you're stabbing my back with your nails. Ow! See, they make horrible pets. He's stabbing me. No, I'm just kidding. Another animal that you would see at a reptile store or a show maybe that's really cheap but is not really the best to get is a Tokay Gecko. And I'm not trying to hate on any of these animals. I think Tokay geckos are absolutely gorgeous. My friend Michelle is working on taming Dahlia, and it's so cool to watch the process and see her being able to handle him. But again, that is the type of animal that requires a significant amount of work that you may not realize if you don't do your research first. So Tokay geckos may not be the best pet for you because they are known to be very, very defensive animals. They are so intelligent and they will not put up with your crap whatsoever. So it's something to be aware of because they are sold wild caught all of the time, and they are so cheap. You could get one for probably like $10, and they're so pretty and appealing for people that they'd want to buy it. But then when they take it home, they're like, what is this thing? It's a monster. And then they may not want to deal with it anymore. So you never want to end up in that situation where you get an animal and you end up not enjoying it because you didn't do your research first, and then the animal may suffer as well. So all animals do require the research. I think every reptile in its own way is amazing, so cool, so unique, and there's something that you can appreciate about every single one of them. But for typical people that don't have much experience, there are animals that are not best suited for that type of person. And these are just the ones that I typically see all the time, that people see and really like off the bat and want to bring home as their first pet. And it's just not really a good idea. It's not a first-time pet when it comes to reptile keeping. There are a lot of amazing options such as crested geckos, leopard geckos, bearded dragons, corn snakes. Again, so many options, but again, all of those require that you do your research as well, because you have to know as much as you possibly can before getting any type of animal. So these are just my options. These are things that I see all of the time that are really cheap, and a lot of people are very attracted to these animals because of their amazing qualities, but then they end up not enjoying them as pets. So leave a comment and let me know if you have noticed this trend with any other reptiles that people really like off the bat, but then they end up not enjoying them as pets. And it just all requires more research. I just want it to be a conversation starter because it's so important for people to make sure that they're fully committed to keeping the reptile that they potentially want to buy, and that obviously they can give it a really good life too. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a wonderful day.